Some weeks in the garden don't seem to have a single big event, but when you look back you realise almost everything has moved on. Crops are climbing, harvests are getting bigger, new flowers are finding their homes, and one rather ambitious compost project is taking shape. Let me show you what we've been up to this week. A few compost bays means something rather different in our house. So, while Doug gets on with whatever mammoth task he's assigned himself, I am going to do a bit of gardening. And I'm going to start with sowing some lettuce. And I'm going to do summer lettuce Dixter. Let's just cover that up. Well, we have the first of what I'm sure is about to be many, and I'm always excited to see the first one. But of course, by the last one, you're sick to death of the sight of them, aren't you? So if you've got any good recipes, please drop me a note in the comments, because I think I'm going to need it with all these squashes, eh? We have now got some corner posts, T-sections. Gosh, they're chunky, aren't they? Quite heavy. Got tall posts, slots down the side to slot some boards in that we can remove when we want to fill up the beds. You know my husband by now. If I ask him for a simple job like, a compost bay, which most people would build out of pallets, quite rightly, I have to have premium timber, something that was built to last and the joints are accurate. And that's not me taking the mickey out of him. He's an engineer at the end of the day and likes things to be done properly. Just do it once and do it right. So this is where we've decided to put it, behind the back of the greenhouse. Gosh, it seems a while since we were in here doing seed sowing, hey? But I've just popped in to do some wongbok cabbages because, as you know, I had to pull mine up. They're not only bolted, but they got a flea beetle. So I'm going to sow a whole new batch. It does say up until July to go between my broccoli plants, and I'm going to cover the whole lot with Enviromesh just to be on the safe side. So yeah, I've got my little seed tray and my seeds. Just need to get sowing. Now then, I don't really have any seed compost, so I'm going to use this terrible peat-free multipurpose mixed in with a bit of soil, but I'm going to just sieve it a little bit. That should do it. I'm going to try not to add more than 2 to a cell. It does say you can direct sow, but as I say, I just want to give them a head start against the slugs that seem to have suddenly arrived. Now, as you can see, Doug's continued with the cutting and has chopped up decking boards to make my compost bays. We've just added some weed barrier and slabs that we've dug up from around the garden to try and control some of the nettles and weeds that are growing under the hedge. It'll also create a little path so that we can gain access around the back for cutting the hedge and clearing out the guttering. My job for this morning is to clear up around the greenhouse and gather together as much compostable material as I can find and do a little spot of weeding as well, I think. So I'm going to get on with that so that I'm nearby if Doug needs a hand with anything. Now, as you can see, Doug's dug 4 holes and gosh, the wind is really rough today. I hope you can hear me. This is the corner post. These are the divisions for the middle bays, which will have things coming off them. What do we think, Bonnie? Are you inspecting? Is it looking good? And meanwhile, I've been tidying up a little bit. I actually made more mess than was there before, I think. That is a bag of non-compostable, and this is the bag of compostable. And I've freed up all these trays. But I've also, to empty a tray, had to transplant some of the grasses that we sowed earlier in the year. So that tray is full now. Inspector Bonnie's come in to be nosy and see what's going on. Here we go, that's the first row on. Bonnie likes to be in every shot, as you know. But yes, looking good. What I have discovered while I was attempting to weed this is 2 verbena plants, one here and one here. So that's good, I will dig them up, and of course the obligatory oak trees because of the squirrels. Okay. It is officially in the hole. Right, well I said it was breezy today and it has been. So looks like I need to pin that down a bit more firmly. But while it's off, I'm going to sow some pink beauty radish in between. And seeing as the cover is off, I will inspect all the leaves just in case, because there are cabbage whites all over the garden at the moment. Oh, there are eggs already. Gosh, they do not waste time, do they? So I've got the label printed already, so that's handy. And I've got the seed in my pocket. A free packet of DT Brown Radish Pink Beauty. Okay, get those covered up. One thing that is doing amazingly well is this lemon drop chili. And once you get your eye in, you realise just how many fruits there are on it. I think there must be, 50 fruits on that plant? So the bigger of the chilies are definitely the lemon drop ones. The others are growing. There's a jalapeno here, but they're nowhere near as advanced. As you can see, Doug is back to work on it today. I am off to Bridgemere Show Gardens, so we'll catch up later. While I had a lovely day out with my friend at Bridgemere Garden Centre and Show Gardens, I left Doug in charge of the camera, so here are a few clips of what he got up to while I was shopping. Morning all. It's a warm but slightly overcast and breezy day, which is perfect. I'm just going to have my cup of coffee. Everything's going bonkers because it's been warm, we've had some rain, and I did come out at 6 o'clock this morning and water despite the rain because it had only really wet the surface. Look at this beauty. Isn't she doing well now? I think this is my birdhouse gourd. Not that massive yet, but it has grown a lot since it went in. And my mashua, that's doing well. It's even got little flower buds on it now. Lots of cabbage white butterflies around at the minute. The ocker, now then. Having never grown it before, I have a question for those who are growing it. It looks a bit droopy, and when the sun comes out it's even more droopy. So if you're growing ocker, let me know. Is that how it's supposed to look, or is there something wrong with my tuber? I've got the honeysuckle has come out at last. The parsnips are finally getting going, which is a good job really, because I never got around to sowing the next lot. But the thing that isn't doing so well are these sweet peas. They just stopped. I don't know whether it was the heat wave or what. But yeah, these ones I think I'm going to pull out, to be fair, and plant a cucumber, which I picked up at the garden centre. Now, if you're a regular viewer, you'll know that I removed my greenhouse ones because they had red spider mite and didn't seem to matter what I did, it wasn't getting any better. So I went to Bridgemere Garden Centre. We thought, oh, we'll go and have a look at the show gardens. And I have to say, we were both really disappointed. But the majority of the site looked neglected. There was barely any flowers in bloom, and there was quite a lot of weeds and bare soil to be seen. But then we did go into the garden centre, which was full of flowers, and spend a small fortune on plants. I have a trough over by the greenhouse which had spring flowers in it, and they have long since gone over. Some of it is to go into a pot with the cannas that I have waiting in the wings. This beauty, however, is to go in the border, as are these fabulous daisies. They're called Crazy Daisy, and you can see why. Aren't they amazing? And I'm hoping that next year I'll be able to grow some from seeds. Doug went through last night and added some new wires because the Uchikikuri is taking off. In fact, it's spreading across the way as well. So yeah, the squashes have gone bonkers in the last few days particularly. This border's doing quite well. I have added some very late zinnia seeds into a little row there because there seemed to be a bit of a gap. I've also taken out the pak choi because they went to seed, and I've put in some tom thumb lettuce and another row of spinach. I've also dotted in this gap 3 Tithonia torch, which are Mexican sunflower. The one in the flower border is huge. I should have got them in much quicker. These lettuce are really ready for eating. The borlotti beans are doing great. They're not coloured up yet, but they're all beans under there. And this sweet corn really has started growing now. It's obviously behind because it just took forever to germinate, to be honest. And the squashes seem to be growing faster than the sweet corn, which is a bit of a problem because I don't want them to get swamped. But these Cesar beans are just doing brilliantly, and I think I can officially say now that we have reached the framework. Yay! We'll start going across the top soon, so that's good. My first calendula has come out, and my chiffon poppies have come out. Aren't they beautiful? I think Doug is still cracking on with the compost bays, and I am generating some waste now, so you know we do need them to be done, so he's cracking on with that. Right, coffee drunk, it's time to get to work. We did take delivery of some topsoil and some compost from Baldwin's near Nantwich. Thanks Claire for that recommendation. I'm going to use the compost mixture for pots and things, so I'll go and get the wheelbarrow, we'll fill up some compost and we'll go and plant the cannas. We have got our friend's dog Sansa visiting again, and she knows that there is a mouse living in this little heap. Anyway, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to gather my cannas. So I'm going to put all of those in this pot, but it's a very deep pot, so I'm going to add some gravel and grits to the bottom before I fill it with compost. Just jiggle them in. This is Canna Durban. These are from Farmer Gracie, and they were bare root plants, so they've done really well. Now, when I was in the garden centre, I was imagining these coleus with them because of the red picking up the leaves, but that might be too similar. And I was also going to plant these, which are double pink blush Calibrochia. They've got a tiny little pinky red splodge in the leaf, but there isn't enough room in that pot for all of those. I think I'll put 3 of these in and we'll see what they look like. Are you all right down there, Buzz? As you can see, my beautiful old girl has finally had her haircut. Do we think the coleus looks all right with the canna? Now, these are obviously taller than the cannas at the minute, but that won't be the case for too long. Just give that a little jiggle to get the soil to settle. And I'm not going to water it until it's on the patio, so let's move that out of the way. While I've been faffing about with plants, Doug's got the central bits in, staggered so the air can flow, and the removable planks so that I can fill it up and close it off. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Compost palace indeed. We are going to put some corrugated roofing on. with gutters at the back and we'll collect water off it. So I better get making some compost. But that looks amazing. Well done, Doug. Phew, it has really got warm this afternoon. Apparently we've got another heat wave on the way. So he's put a few slabs here. I think I might get another water dipping tank and put a gutter that goes into it on that side. Right then, I have got some baby green sprouting broccoli plants to plant. So my plan is to put 4 of them in here. The others I think I'm going to put between the strawberries, but that area needs a good sort out and the baby runners taking off first. I literally put that jug of brassicas down and the cabbage white butterfly came flying over. I might put these on temporarily and get the net ones made as quickly as possible. Clear off, cabbage whites. I could do without you harassing me while I'm doing this. Right, we have covered that now. Here come Troubles. Come to see what we're up to. So I'm doing Mr. Fothergill's spicy salad leaf mix, and it's a mixture of cress and mustard and rocket basically, which just add a little peppery tang. Okay, cover them over. We'll just water those in again because it is quite dry, this soil. I've gathered together a few things. I've got this pot, this trough and that pot that need refreshing. But look at this, isn't she absolutely gorgeous? They are called Great Silence, and I don't know whether it is picking it up on camera, but they look illuminous. When the sun's shining, the pink glistens. I'll plant them up and then I'll show you the finished result. Right, that has taken way more time than it should have done. So the leftovers went in this little pot. So I've got a couple of little white dwarf dahlias, a fuchsia and some coleus. And then we've done the trough. So I emptied everything out apart from these things that were already in here. And there are some bulbs left in. And then the last pot has the beautiful, beautiful coloured verbenas. And the ladybirds have found them already, look. But yes, so that's going to look lovely. And the fuchsia is called Bella. So, you know, it had to be done, hey. That is now much prettier than it was before. And I have to say the pond is also looking quite nice at the moment. I have also done some watering. I cannot believe how quickly these tomatoes have grown. They look fabulous. There's a big cluster of pink brandy wine coming there and some more up here. Potatoes, now then, the weather hasn't done them any favours. This one is looking so much happier since I put a tray under to catch the water. This one is done and there are a couple of potatoes on the surface which have gone green. That is a Charlotte, I think, as is that one. I've just emptied another bucket of potatoes and I can't believe that that came out of one bucket. There are loads. It's really good year for Charlottes. Sitting in the shade, drinking our coffee, counting all the cabbage white butterflies. So far, the most we've seen together is 7. Right, lunch break over. I think it's possibly time that I put Doug's new compost bays to good use. Would you believe I don't have any garden shears to chop up the bits? A shredder would be even more useful, I think, because the smaller the bits, the quicker things compost down. But Today I'm armed with my trusty secateurs, so let's go and start chopping up some bits. And on this occasion it won't matter that this water is shower temperature. I know lots of people worry about getting the right balance of green waste versus browns, but browns are just twiggy things or cardboard. Greens are things like grass and dead crops, so I'm not going to worry too much. Okay, that is the end of the bin, and the bottom of that bin was actually already rotting down. So I'm going to add some cardboard or paper to that because the bottom was quite wet. Right, well, as you can probably tell by the colour of my cheeks, it's getting hotter by the minute. So I've popped a piece of cardboard on the top of that just to stop it getting any wetter. And I think I better stop filming, otherwise I'll never get to editing and we won't get a video out this week. Happy gardening, everyone. I'll see you next week where we'll be finishing this compost palace. See you then. Bye for now.